to it, Brett. Spider web.
And can you guys hear me okay? I'm assuming so. So again, thank you very much. My name is Brett Willett. I'm with SPIDA Software. I'm Vice President, kind of overseeing general operations for our company. So I've been up here now, I think this is our third time attending the CUEE. It's kind of been an interesting story for us. See if I can get the clicker to work. There we go. So SPIDA, just a little bit of very brief background about SPIDA as an organization, as a company. All of our products and services, we're really focused in three distinct broad areas, yet very specific within the utility. So our products and our platform, which we have coined as a structure management system, we're really focusing on the physical asset. So all of our tools are really refined around helping you either manage construction and the coordination between parties from a joint use perspective, and I'll touch on that here using one of our products called SPIDA Min. Engineering and planning, most of you up here in the Ontario area are familiar with our SPIDA Calc software potentially, which is really a structural analysis tool. We've got a pretty large user base, and I think that's kind of one of the things that's that gives me that I enjoy about coming up here to CUE. When I was here in 2010, it was our first time coming into the Canadian market to talk to utilities about us. Today we have almost 50 companies now using our products, with most of them here right inside of Ontario. So we have a very large contingent. As a company, we've only been out talking to utilities in general since 2009. And we've now grown to an organization supporting about 150 companies in the States, Canada, and down in the Caribbean areas as well. So we've been going through a lot of rapid growth and expansion, not only as a company and a user group, but also just in terms of our products and services. And what I'm going to do today is just kind of very briefly and succinctly try to guide you through, which is normally a really in-depth review. So if you're interested, I'm over in booth 436. I'm the only one here, so you'll see me over there when I get done. If you want to talk more or kind of take a longer look at what we're doing. But what I'm going to do is going to give you a kind of a high-level overview of all of our products, our core products that we provide to the market. So again, construction coordination, engineering and planning, and then we get used primarily in the inspection and maintenance arenas as well. So we're not a work management system. You can see we're not a GIS. We're not necessarily a graphic work design tool, yet we can support all of those functions and features within a utility. So again, SPIDA Calc is probably our flagship product. That's the one that, that's the product that most folks are familiar with. So it is a comprehensive finite element analysis software. So it is used for modeling and analyzing overhead systems. We perform a comprehensive review of not only the pole, but also anchors, guys, cross arms, insulators, really evaluating that design against prevailing CSA, the overhead design standards, both linear and nonlinear. We also do pole strength calculations. In other words, we can model damage, decay, and deterioration on an existing wooden structure, and we can tell you whether that structure still meets CSA code requirements. So before you go out and, I was just talking with some folks earlier about going into the process of a costly pole changeout, you can use SPIDA Calc to make an assessment to determine truly if that structure is one that still meets code, or if indeed it does need to be replaced. We do some clearance checks, and then SPIDA Calc, as you'll see, as I'll touch on here, is also designed to be used in the field or at the workstation. So really when we set about designing SPIDA Calc, we really were trying to tailor the product to two distinct types of users. One, where SPIDA Calc is loaded on a laptop or a tablet, where they're going into the field and they're data collecting an existing structure, maybe from a pole attachment or third-party perspective, where they're very specific and they know exact measurements and details. So we need them to be very comprehensive and very detailed, where they're really looking to determine, is that structure, is it capable of withstanding a new attachment? Maybe you're looking at reconfiguring an existing overhead, or accommodating a new joint use attachment, as well as from a greenfield design perspective, where I'm really working framing based, where I'm going to give my design out to construction. They're going to build it per the design plan, as they always do, right? You guys have the 2204 requirements now to help ensure that process takes place. So from a very quick design perspective, where you're really working at larger framing units and assemblies, we've tried to tailor to that user as well, where they're not going to the field, but they're working at their desk. So we try to balance the functionality of SPIDA Calc, where there's really a powerful engine that's running behind the scenes, doing comprehensive structural calcs, looking at all those major components, yet being something that's very nimble and easy to use in the field as well, where you know, you're not sacrificing the horsepower, we like to say, you know, by forsaking functionality. So here we just got, next couple of slides here, just some visuals. And you know, a couple of years ago, we presented at an EDIS conference, and one of our users out of Thunder Bay presented with me. And so I thought this would be an appropriate time maybe to show some of his designs. So these are actual designs from some of his jobs and some of the evaluations where he was using SPIDA really around, you know, doing comprehensive guying and looking to see, okay, what can I do with my leads? What can I do, you know, with my anchor positioning, you know, in order to achieve some tight right-of-way, something that still does meet CSA code. So again, we can look at you can see up in the upper corner, we've got sidewalk bracing. So again, we look at anchors, guys, poles, cross-arm insulators, push braces. We're now doing a buckling check on the actual struts to determine whether, you know, they're being overloaded or not. So we really try to do a very comprehensive job of looking at every major component. And again, you can tailor to say, I want to look at it CSA, heavy, grade 1, grade 2. All of those are configurations done, as well as the material selections are all configured in the library. And so they can be very specific to a utility or a user. So with SPIDA we fit into new design scenarios, as I've talked about, existing pole evaluations. Joint use is a really large opportunity to use SPIDA. You know, use that opportunity of a new attachment to come in and look at your structure, make sure that it's meeting code. Ground line pole inspections, looking for decay and deterioration, is actually well within the confines of SPIDA. And there's actually the ability under the field data collection to create some additional data collection forms where I can go collect that ancillary or auxiliary data that's normally being placed on paper. We can capture that electronically inside SPIDA along with GPS coordinates on the embedded map that's there, as well as some photos to give you one universal package that represents the work that you're undertaking. So that's SPIDA Just to quickly switch gears here, I'm going to start talking now about SPIDA Min, which is a much larger application. It's our enterprise asset management system. And what we noticed in working on SPIDA that there's a lot of different ways and different reasons that you're going to the pole, right? So pole attachments, your own design, ground line inspections, as I touched on. So there's a lot of different organizations and people touching the asset. And a lot of times they're doing their own design work, and there's very little sharing we've seen historically where they're sharing that information between organizations. So there's an opportunity there, we thought, if we could just somehow consolidate all of that activity into one common spot within the utility. Because there really is, you know, there's a ton of electrical tools out there. You have GIS, which helps you track the geographic, the georeference place of the asset and the current asset attributes. But historically, really there's no central spot that helps you manage the physical asset and that life cycle and that history. And so that for us is what SPIDA Min is. It's a central repository that sits next to your GIS and interfaces with that, with your work management. So over time, and thinking of this through the 2204 perspective, through that lens, you know, we can provide that life cycle and the tracking for the asset. So every time someone touches the asset, we're going to capture that SPIDA document, capture the activity. So over time, you're really creating a full picture of everything that's happened to that asset over time. So for us, you know, SPIDA Min really focuses then on administering the day-to-day activity through configured workflows. You know, so where you take your business process and you have tools directly in the interface which allow you to map your business process and then initiate projects or jobs against that workflow where we're tracking activity very specifically for a job from cradle to grave all the way through, as well as then administering, you know, from a global sense, all of that activity from, be it from design or third party or pole inspections. We give you one console that lets you see all of the ongoing physical activity that's touching the asset. Life cycle tracking, over time, again, you're going to build up that repository and store that data as well. So here's a visual of what SPIDA looks like. It is a map-based system. You can see various projects ongoing. Everything's polygon to show you the work activity. I only got 5 minutes. I got plenty of time. I just got to talk faster, that's all. So it's a map-based, workflow-driven system with very strict, powerful permissions. It's open, it runs inside of a web browser, so you can interact with external companies. And so obviously there's some sensitive asset data there that you may not want to share with municipalities or attachers or contractors. So you can control the level of detail and type of activity that can be initiated or viewed by that end user. So again, just quickly, I'll bounce through some additional screenshots. As you zoom out, we'll do some clustering of ongoing projects, kind of put some push pins on the map to show you where activity is. And as you zoom in, we're going to get even more into the details to show you exact assets involved in projects. There's an embedded, almost like an Excel spreadsheet, where it allows you to do some sorting and filtering, as well as exporting of data directly out of the application, saving you having to go and dump into a spreadsheet type environment. You know, we give you that tool directly inside SPIDA. And again, just kind of visually, just to show you, again, we give you the tools to document and create your business process right inside the application. So you can connect the dots between how you do it today on paper, and then we can map that into the system. So we're tracking that project from step by step by step as it advances, and then capturing all the details. And along the way, you can insert forms and capture information electronically right inside SPIDA to warehouse all of your attachment details or your inspection records or maybe your inspection sign-off with the 2204. And then again, just some other screenshots here. There's some advanced searching as well inside the application. And every user is provided a dashboard where they can pin up to 10 very custom and specific queries and filters that they create, where when they log into the system, they're taken to the dashboard. So they can automatically see the information that's important to them as a unique user. So it's a universal tool that can be, that's flexible enough to accommodate the individual's task and their role that they play within the organization. So just how SPIDA gets used. Again, some of the same areas that we see SPIDA Calc, right? Really inspection and maintenance. We can track the contractor activity. We can track your activity with your audits and the type of work that you're doing, the type of maintenance programs that you have, that you're doing today on spreadsheets and paper. Joint use is a grand opportunity. You know, draw the reins in on that, runaway beast, right? Make your attachers, they can log in, they can, submit their request to attach. You can track it from cradle to grave. If they're using SPIDA Calc, you can receive the SPIDA Calc design file. You can make the additions, make your evaluations, where we give you kind of, again, a common area to have a conversation about the asset. And then finally, I got a couple minutes here, so see, I'm going to make this work, so don't worry. So I've got a couple minutes, and I want to talk to you about our newest product that we're rolling out first quarter of next year. It's called SPIDA DB. So SPIDA DB is exactly maybe what the DB, or the database designation, infers, right? So as your users are running SPIDA Calc analysis, they're looking at a poll. Well, geez, the next person along, it'd be really nice if I could go find that poll, that design that they analyzed. And then it'd be great if I could use that as the start. It's easy to do when we have limited number of projects or a small number of users, but over time, the number of project files and the number of polls that you've looked at is going to grow right as your activity and as your use of SPIDA Calc grows. So SPIDA DB is a very small and specific application that's going to allow you to store down to the design level all of that SPIDA Calc activity. So as a user, I'm going to be able to quickly go in and find and locate and import or export my designs in and out of SPIDA Calc and commit that to SPIDA DB. Where now I can, if I'm looking at a line of 5 polls, I can go see, okay, I looked at this poll a year ago, I looked at the next poll 6 months ago, I looked at this one 3 times, over the last 5 years. I've never looked at the 4th poll or the 5th poll. And I can download and import those locations into a new project file that take me off into SPIDA Calc. So again, it's a time saver. It's a documentation that something was done on that asset. And we can search within the interface. You can search by project. Go back and I need to find a specific project that I worked on. Maybe somebody did it many years ago, and all you know is the project number. You're not even sure what was involved with it. It's an easy way to find by project, location, or within each location. For those of you that use SPIDA Calc, you can have multiple designs within any given location. So it's a way to query down to the design level. Again, just some screenshots of what that looks like. So after you've done some, completed a project, you can import that information into SPIDA DB, and you can see here's just a couple of quick screenshots. So we will pull in kind of some visuals just so within the DB application, without having to go all the way over to SPIDA Calc, you'll see, geez, what does that design look like? For those of you that are familiar with the side and top view, if there's any GPS or photos that have been taken, you'll be able to quickly see, okay, what was done on this project and what's some of the high-level information within the DB environment without having to I ran out of time, but I'm going to keep going for 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to finish. And then you're going to be able to quickly see within DB, if that's something that you actually want to use or not. So it's a way to quickly identify and search through all the records that are committed within DB. And the nice thing about SPIDA DB is that it can be interfaced and integrated with a GIS system. So if you already have a common record of assets, SPIDA DB can be published as a service that can be consumed by your GIS system. So when you click on a pole in GIS, it can go back and we can tie that in with SPIDA DB. So again, kind of completing that picture for you where SPIDA Calc is not just sitting out, all those files aren't sitting out kind of scattered around network drives or on an individual PC. We can consolidate those and then plug that in with the power of SPIDA Min and SPIDA Calc to really give you kind of this nice, complete picture of what's going on the physical side of your assets. Again, just some other quick screenshots here, just kind of, again, walking you through. So overall, again, SPIDA, we are a structure management system. We're new. We're not here to say we're a GIS. We're not a work management system. And we're not a graphic work design package per se, right? We're our own thing. But what we're able to do is get you off all of those old spreadsheets and databases that sit isolated from the enterprise. And we're able to build out, if I can get, there we go, we can get you off those old systems, those legacy applications, migrate that into SPIDA Min, interconnect with other GIS. We're an Esri business partner, so we've done Esri integrations in the past. We're doing integration with SAP and Maximo, so we've done some integrations with other types of enterprise systems, as well as we're ongoing with doing integrations with other types of graphic work design tool. Autodesk is in the process of integrating their AUD product. That'll be out next spring, and we've got about 5 or 6 other engineering packages that have already integrated with SPIDA Calc. So again, kind of giving you a nice broad area to help you manage your physical asset. Again, I'm over in 436. Sorry for going over by a minute or two, and thank you all very much for your time.